today and put it on our website. There you go. Thank you, Sashay. So that you can refer back to it if you need it. Also, please know we are always available one-on-one for any technical assistance you might need throughout this process, but we did hope to get started today and kind of give you the lay of the land for this second cycle that Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation is administering for the Truckee Tahoe Airport District. So with that, let's go ahead and start our slide presentation. Real quickly, here's the agenda that we're going to follow today, and we're going to be as brief as we possibly can, but we also want to leave time at the end for your questions. So we're going to talk briefly about each of our organizations and then give you just a brief overview of the agency partnership process, the timeline for this year, and then some frequently asked questions that we've already gotten, both from the last cycle and in anticipation of this next cycle. But then if those don't answer your questions, we do want to open it up at the end for any questions that you might have. So with that, we'll get started. I thought Kevin Smith was going to join us, but I don't see him. He probably got stuck doing something else. But Kevin Smith is the general manager of the Truckee Tahoe Airport District. And this was supposed to be his slide to tell you a little bit about their mission and their regional impact. But I think we're all familiar with the airport. We know that they are a huge community partner in this region and have done so much to benefit, the entire region that they serve through a lot of their sponsorships and agency partnerships through the years, as well as other resources that they have shared with the community. So there is their mission that you can read. So obviously the agency partnership process really relies strongly on that part of their mission where they want to invest in opportunities that provide that sustained benefit to the entire Truckee Tahoe region. So that's why this agency partnership was formally established, and we've refined it over the years, and we're refining it even further and hoping to be as transparent and equitable as we possibly can with it. Okay, our next slide.
Yeah, thanks, Phyllis. I'll go ahead and hop on in here. As I said, I'm Sashay Kantu. I actually am the Director of Impact Investing at the foundation, but I support Phyllis and the rest of our team across a pretty expansive array of community projects. So very fortunate to be able to come to this work and share with you a bit about the foundation's mission. And the Community Foundation is actually one of about 700 community foundations across the US. And what's so special about the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation alongside our peers is that we really have a charge to invest our efforts in very specific geographies. So as you saw that map on the prior slide of the airport district itself, similarly, we at the Community Foundation track very closely to the school district map. So thinking about that as this really defined geographic area where we want to have an influence and a benefit. And we're able to work towards realizing our mission really through a variety of different ways. And we've been fortunate enough, while I'm a newcomer, the foundation's been doing this work for over 2 decades. And some of the areas that we do our work in actually include grant making. So that's direct charitable giving from the foundation itself. The administration of a scholarships program, which my partner in crime over here, Phyllis, is deeply engaged in at this moment in time. And then also convening around key community issues from a range of different causes. And that includes community well-being, accessible housing, as well as forest health. And as Phyllis also mentioned, 2021 was actually the first year that the Community Foundation partnered with the airport district. So the first of 3 years to help deliver this engagement of a application process open to the general public that would really follow the goals and objectives of the airport spend for agency partnership. And I just want to caveat that, everything we're going to talk about today, and I'm really glad we also have some space scoped out for dialogue and questions and answers, is really we took stock. And when I say we, that includes Phyllis, the team at the airport district from both the staff level as well as board leadership level, to really sit back and say, what did we learn in the last time that we went through this? And how do we use that learning to reiterate or also streamline our process moving into this year? And while we've made some changes, we really want to kind of highlight what holds true about why we're partnering with the airport district, why the community foundation in specific. So really, we're just aiming to make sure that we're clearly promoting our communication and increasing the understanding around the public's awareness and understanding of eligibility criteria for this program, what it is it a fit, is it not? Especially as anybody who's a development professional might know, you have to be very strategic around how you're going to spend your time and doing some of that due diligence on the front end to say, is this a great path to spend the time investing in applying for? Also really thinking about what the role of the community foundation is in an application review process and being able to draw on over 2 decades worth of experience in charitable giving and subject matter expertise, which also really leverages a lot of our community-based work. So you'll see that through the community-based review model that we use that really accesses the time, talent, and expertise of our volunteers. And then thinking about how are we really using an evaluation framework that is tethered to the mission of the airport district. So really, are we setting ourselves up in a way that allows us to achieve the goals of the intended funding? And then also, last but not least, and this is also part of why we love this work so much, is being able to have the relationships and provide that guided technical assistance and really streamline the process from end to end. So I just want to reiterate that as we go through the content and as you get to know Phyllis and myself, while we're not going to tell you what the magic number is. We know you're the expert on your program. We just really want to reiterate that we're here to help facilitate the process and answer questions along the way. So
Thanks,
back to you, Phyllis.
Okay. So as Sashay laid out, we hope you see that there is this synergy between the airport district and TTCF to run this process. And we hope that the expertise that we bring to it makes it easier for you as the nonprofits and public agencies applying for this. This is our business. This is what we do, day in and day out. So don't be shy to ask us questions and get any clarification that we can possibly give to you on that. So the agency partnership program, if you are new to this, I think a few of you have said that this is all new, territory for you. This was established back in 2011 by the airport. And it's, as I said before, it's been refined over time. And it's a source of funding that the airport wants to give back to this community, but we needed to do it in a more streamlined way, but also in a process that everyone understands the rules going in, everyone's on a level playing field, there's a timeline associated with it. And anyway, so just making more of a formal process that would be easier for, the community at large to understand what's going on, to share in the success of it, and to know, what's going to happen going forward with it. So yes, this is slightly different than we did it last year. And that's why we wanted to have this workshop today to kind of tell you about the refinements that we've made from the first cycle that we did. Many of you who were applicants in that 2021 cycle know we started that after the program had basically been on pause during COVID. And so we had to get a process in under the wire for 2021. So it was somewhat of a short timeline. And we appreciate all the efforts that people made to meet those deadlines that we had to adhere to last year. So this year we are spreading it out some. So you will have more time to complete an application, to get a formal resolution from your agency partnership, all of those things that might have been somewhat of a challenge before. We hope we're building in enough time this year to help you with that. So with that, I wanted to talk about what is new in 2022. We do have an amount available to fund this year that we know of, at least a minimum amount of $500,000. The board always has the discretion to vote to to increase that if they do take that vote from other funding sources, if they do want to reprioritize their budget to do so, but we are guaranteed that minimum $500,000 for this cycle for 2022. Last year, as I said, when we kind of started this up after it had been on hiatus for a while, we had a letter of intent just to kind of gauge people's interest in this and who was kind of ready for the process to reopen. So that was for last year. Now that we're extending the cycle, we're just doing an eligibility quiz at the beginning. So you will have a self-guided questions to answer so that you can determine if in fact you are eligible to apply for this source of funding. So that will be built into the application process itself. We also had several other changes in the process. Before this year, the amount of award would start at over 3,000, and so that has been increased to over 5,000 now. So that's a little bit of an increase there that you should know about. There are several other instructions, policy instruction 311 changes that I absolutely urge you to read through and make sure you understand. You know, it talks about the formal resolution you need. It talks about, you know, enhancing the airport's mission, all of those type of things that you need to make sure your proposal touches on. But a couple of other things that the board themselves, the board members themselves wanted to build into this language in this latest revision of the policy instruction are things around that the lobbying for or trying to influence the decisions on this is not going to be permitted. There are no public presentations before the board of different applicants for different projects. They do ask in public comment at the time when we're reviewing these with the board members that if your organization does want to make public comment, that you try and pick a single representative to do that. And we know a lot of this is not necessarily, quote, enforceable because it is open public comment, but just to honor the integrity of the process and the review committee that will have given their ratings and rankings to the board for them to make their decisions, that it's not appropriate during the airport meeting for a lot of comment of, you know, of a repetitive nature to just reinforce a message that you might be trying to give about your proposal. When you think about how you would want others to act, you know, let's just treat each other fairly about that and just know that your proposal should stand on its own. That should be enough on its own and enough for the committee to have gone through in the scoring rubric that is extremely objective and tied to the airport's mission and to the guidelines that we are working under. So it should be enough, if you will. So anyway, we hope you understand that. We know in the past there has been a push to get community members to come in and support things. And while we're not trying to say none of that can happen, we just want to realize that this is not the bulk of the airport district's operations. This is something they do for the community, and they have resourced us to, you know, to run this process for them in hopes that their agenda can now deal with this in a more effective and efficient way once a year. So we want to, you know, honor their intent on that and honor again each other's time and efforts as we come forward for them for these proposals. So I think that's all I had on that one. So for those who have applied with us before, we're using our grant software, even though this is not technically a grant. We are using that software, so you can always get to that site from your prior sign-in or go to our website and you'll see the link to that. If you are a new applicant but your organization is not new to our process, I will need to set you up in the system as a contact under that organizational profile. Or you can use another coworker sign in if someone else has done it before. But if you want your own sign in, you will not be creating another organizational profile. I just need to add you, as I said, as a contact under that. So just reach out to me by email and let me know if you do need to be set up independently in the system for that. So then you'll, as I said, you will complete the eligibility quiz. And again, as the policy instruction 311, which is our holy grail on this, so please read that thoroughly. You are going to be required to have a formal resolution with your partnering agency. And so you will need to be able to upload a copy of that to this application. So these are things that you can be doing to get ready for the application process itself. Again, we're trying to give you as much time as possible to run down all the things that are required for this application. So as this last bullet point says, you have until the end of July to get all of this done and submitted. Okay.
Okay, so moving along, just want to also note some really key dates related to the process that you'll see at the top of this slide. So congratulations, we're here at the first bullet point, knocking it out of the way with our workshop for prospective applicants, with a little bit of a window until the actual application becomes live on our website on the 15th. So as noted previously, you will have until the 31st of July to complete all application related materials. And this is actually something we're quite excited by, that we were able to streamline the number of phases in the application process this year, but also extend the total application period. It's about almost quite double, I think, for the overall end-to-end period, to go ahead and fully flesh out those proposals and applications. So just a note again that the portal will close on the 31st, and then the committee review portion of application review will be taking place throughout the month of August, and that is comprised of our community-based volunteers and program staff and leadership from the foundation and the airport. The end goal is that TTCF will present a slate of recommendations to the airport board on the October 26th board of directors meeting, and then with notification of funding decisions to follow shortly thereafter. And what you see on the bottom part of this screen as well is just kind of really a highlight about our process. Really, you know, one of the things that we're aiming to do, and just kind of a top line goal of this partnership overall, is to really be transparent and equitable across the project from end to end, from start to finish, to what we deliver and present in front of the board of directors. So just want to provide front row visibility into what's happening in each one of these phases, while you may be focused just, you know, right now on the applications submission period. It's recognizing that there are other pieces of review, evaluation, discussion that will take place prior to coming forth to the board in early fall for these recommendations to have, you know, formal resolution approval. And then I believe, Phyllis, you're probably familiar with this as well, that the final awards were actually, checks were cut prior to the end of the calendar year. So don't quote me on that, but again, just thinking about how is this process accelerated enough so that we're able to close out aligned to the fiscal and calendar year with the program overall.
Okay. So really that's about it as far as walking you through what to expect with this process. But I did want to address questions that you might have. And one of the things we are always asked is, where can we find more information? You can go to our website, ttcf.net, and type in agency partnership in the search bar and go directly to the page. We also co-communicate with the airport district's website as well. We're sharing communications. And so you may see things in social media as well that will give you the connection to this process, but you can always go to either website, either the airport districts or ours, for the references and links that you need. Again, if, as Sashay just said, how will you know if your organization was selected? We will officially contact you after the board meeting when decisions are made by the board. So don't worry about any of that. We'll take care of that for you. If you do not have a partnership in place yet, Again, we're trying to give you as much time as possible. So you have between now and the end of July to get a formal resolution. That is covered specifically in the policy instruction 311. So be sure and read that and make sure that your formal resolution does rise to that level that the airport district is expecting to see. The committee that we have, yeah, go ahead,
Sorry, I was
Sasha.
just going to note, I dropped the link to the combined webpage on the foundation's website for the agency partnership program. So it's there for reference.
Okay, thank you. The committee that we select, you know, we've as we've said, we've been at this for over 2 decades, and so we have quite a strong cadre of volunteers in the community that we call on from time to time to help us out with these sort of volunteer opportunities. And so last year, with the first cycle that we ran, we were able to pull together people from across the region, the airport's district. So we had broad representation. We also had absolutely 100% of experience in public funding. So we had people that had sat on county, you know, decision-making grant committees and that type of thing. And so we pulled on that expertise and had an incredibly robust committee to review the proposals that we had last year. We hope to pull as many of those people back as possible. And hopefully even add to the committee this year, but you can rest assured that you have extremely competent people in place to do this as a volunteer for this community. And that's something we've always relied on in our community grant making, is that there is community voice in the decisions. How much should I request? Sasha mentioned this before, you know, you're the experts in your programming and in your projects. And, you know, if you can make a case for the amount that you need, and that is supported with the budget and also supported by a strong agency partner that is, you know, also donating at a commensurate level, then that's the amount to ask for. If you can defend it and honor that, then we want to see it. We want to see very good proposals for this community. And again, we're expecting strong impact, long-lasting impact in this community. So this is the funding source for that. So please give that, you know, your best efforts and help us bring to the airport district these wonderful projects that can, you know, enhance our daily quality of life in this community. So again, just reiterating policy instruction 311, it's been revised. The new date on it, I believe, is March 23rd. So it's, you know, the ink is barely dry on it. I don't know if any of you were at the last board meeting, but a lot of small word changes were made by the board members themselves. They were absolutely engaged in this. And we really hammered that out and have a new version that we hope will be much clearer, easier to follow for all the any of you, you know, hoping to apply under this.
Yeah, and what I'd like to offer to you, Phyllis, I just got a note from an attendee as well that the version that is currently on the airport district's website is still the 2019, so it's not yet been pushed out. I think an easy enough follow-up for us is just to connect with the team. And since we have the attendee list for today's workshop, we can send you guys a follow-up. You know, I'm not sure if we're able to distribute it offline, but we can certainly let you know as soon as that is posted on the airport's website. That way you can go back and reference it. So I'll make a note of that. And thank you for flagging that.
Yes, and again, that's another reason why the cycle isn't opening until April 15th, because the airport district needed time to get this approved through their you know, legal counsel and get it signed by the current board chair and all of that. And we literally just got our version of it on Thursday or Friday. So we don't even have it up on our website either until they do. And so they're notifying us when it goes up there and we'll publish it. But since you're all on this call, as Sasha said, we'll get the copy out to you that we have. Focus areas that the district has, we know for sure that for several years they've been interested in STEAM projects, anything that would enhance further learnings and education in the aviation industry itself, to again, to, you know, build toward that workforce for the future. That's an FAA goal. And so it's a goal that they have adopted as this, you know, regional airport district. We also know they're worried about, you know, greenhouse gas emissions and trying to, you know, work on projects that reduce that. So we know that that is a focus area. They have an annual goal setting workshop as a new board, or, you know, the board for each year, typically in January or February of the year. They had a public meeting on that February 21st on a Monday, and then had a board meeting on February 23rd where they referred to it, some of the goals that they had addressed in that special meeting. And all of that is being written up and will be added to the airport district's website as well. So as soon as we have something there, we will again cross-reference everything so that you have as much information as we do as these goals and objectives and priorities of the board are hammered out. There you have our contact information, just our first names at ttcf.net. Be sure it's .net, not .com, or you'll never find us. But anyway, there again, we are available to answer individual questions anywhere along in this process. So don't hesitate to, you know, raise your hand and ask if you do need help for that. With that, I seriously, if you have questions today that you don't mind sharing with us all, we're happy to open it up for that. Your question may be, as you know, something that someone else is concerned about, and hopefully we can all learn together if you do have something to ask.
Number one, on the website, does it list the agencies that are basically eligible for this project? You know, agencies that we could partner with. Are there specific agencies, you know?
No, there's not a list, Ben, but there is a definition. It's hold on, let me. In the policy instruction talks about the public agency or tax. How does that? I can't remember exactly what the words are, but it is definitely in the policy instruction. So.
Okay, great. I'll check that out.
I was just looking under the definition section. If I find it, I'll be sure to read it. So.
And then I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there somewhere where we can find, you know, partnerships that were done in the past that really were a good fit, you know, for the airport?
Yeah, the airport has all of that on their website already. I'll have to give you the exact steps to get to it, but it's typically under their, hold on, let me open theirs. But they do have a section on this, so I've got so many things open. I had it open before and I guess I closed it out, sorry.
That's all right.
So if you go to their website under Giving Back, under the tab across the top, it says Giving Back.
Okay.
And then there's a drop down there and it has sponsorship program. And that's where they will have the updated policy instruction. I'm not sure, Ben, exactly where it is, but I know it's, I'll dig in around in it and find it. I've seen it before. There's a spreadsheet that has the historical.
Okay, and I'm sure I can do that too. I can dig around as long as I know it's on there.
Yeah, I will say since 2017, the airport has funded over 2 million in agency partnership awards. So
That's
it's
awesome.
It's an amazing number. Yeah. Yeah.
My final question is, as far as the partnership goes, the agency that we're partnering with, could it be, could they be offering, you know, financially being partners, also offering their services? Or I'm just curious about the nature of the partnership
Yeah, it
possibility?
can be in kind. You just need, again, to be able to, explain that if it's not a direct financial investment on their part as a partner, then, how are you valuing what they are contributing? So just make that very clear.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's a really important point and kind of lesson learned from last year's cycle as well. So even if you're thinking about drawing on publicly available information around how to calculate the financial value of volunteer hours, right? So recognizing where you may be tracking data, but also if, maybe it's simply you're tracking volunteer hours per year and then figuring out how would you make that an equivalent of financial input into your organization, right? And then secondarily, I think what we're also expecting in the program descriptions is also some sort of demonstration of what the buy-in is with the partner. And when I say buy-in, it's really about describing the relationship and kind of the shared vision you have for your goals. So I think that it can still also be quantitative, but as you're talking about describing your partnership, like really as a reviewer, we try and take into account, yes, the matching dollars, it figures in, but so does like when you have leadership that is really bought into the program or the vision of your work, that shows up in other less tangible but equally meaningful ways. So we want to understand as much about that as we can.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And we do appreciate letters of support from the community, from other agencies, from other, stakeholders that you have in your project, that type of thing. That doesn't replace the formal resolution, but it is something that is taken into account as far as gauging the public readiness for a project and the buy-in that we need from a community for, to rate and rank a project. So
I see. Oh, thank you.
sure. Anyone else? I won't keep us if we've answered your questions for today, but just want to make sure I'm not speeding through this too fast. I think I'm seeing everybody. I don't see any other hands up or questions in the chat box. Okay. Well, as I said, we're happy to answer any questions individually. So just give us a call or email. And with that, I will say thank you again for your time on a very busy Monday. We appreciate that. It's nice to see the interest in this. We look forward to your proposals. It's good to see some new faces at the table for this and the returning ones as well. So thank you, everyone. And we will be in touch, hopefully.
Thank you,
Thank
Phyllis.
you.
Thank you, Sasha.
You're most welcome. Take care, everybody.
Thank you very much.